Hello. So today I wanted to make a video about the zodiac signs' worst traits. I got a couple recommendations for it, so I wanted to do it. I'm gonna try to make the intro quick because this is gonna be a long video. I was thinking of doing kind of like a little 12-part series of each sign and their worst traits, but I felt like that would take too long because if you're Pisces, do you want to wait that long until you hear about it? So yeah, timestamps are below. It's not like my last video where I forgot to put the timestamps and then you kind of had to just skip and kind of assume where your sign was in the video and just kind of skip and hear your sign name. So disclaimer before we get into the video, this does not have to resonate with you. If it does, amazing. If it doesn't, cool. These are just personal observations, things I've noticed from people I've seen and observed and met. So yeah, you don't have to resonate with it. This is all kind of just for fun. I just want to inform you guys about what your sign's worst traits are. But if you don't resonate with it, that's perfectly fine. It's pretty cool. So yeah, let's get straight into the video. So, Aries. So Aries, I've noticed they're the first sign of the zodiac. They're the fire sign. They have a lot of energy. So with that being said, I've noticed that Arieses are very chaotic people. They kind of have this childish and indecisive nature. Aries is definitely the type to be a little reckless at times and jump into a certain situation and jump out of it and then jump into another one. They're just kind of always onto something else and kind of hard to pin down and settle down. And with that, they're definitely doers instead of thinkers. They're not like Virgo, where Virgo is definitely a thinking sign. You know, they methodically think every single meticulous detail down to the T. No. Aries just does and does and does and does. And then, let's say they jump into a job. They end up not liking the job after 2 weeks. Jump into another one. And they'll just go into the next thing and the next thing without even thinking or making a plan about it. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I feel like when it doesn't work out, it's definitely, it makes them chaotic. And I've noticed with Arieses, you can kind of notice that they're a little chaotic. Externally, they give off that vibe. I don't know how to explain it, but when an Aries isn't satisfied or doing well and they're kind of in between decisions, you can kind of notice it in the way they act, in the way they act towards you. So yeah, I think with their childish and immature nature, they kind of just rush in and out of things. They don't really think things through. And I think with all that being said, that just makes them very chaotic. Since they just jump into something and then jump out, like they're never pinned down, they're never settled down. They don't have that sense of stability and security. They're just onto everything. So yeah, Aries, I think you should maybe try one thing, and even if you don't like it, maybe try it a little longer and see how things work out for you. Give things a little bit of time, So yeah, definitely little chaotic souls. Now moving on to Taurus. Taurus, I've noticed they're very stagnant people. They like their comfort zone. They like the things that they like. They like wearing the same things. They like eating the same things. They like doing all the same things. They like their routine. And I feel like people say like, oh yeah, Virgo, all the routine. No, we've obviously never met a Taurus. Tauruses are so... Sometimes you don't even notice how much they evolve or change over time because they kind of just always stay the same. Tauruses are very picky and they're very stubborn. And I think with that being said, their stubborn nature, it just leaves them stagnant and inside their little own box. And they like their own little own box and they will never get out of their little box. I feel like they could be very, very, they're like a pause button sometimes. Like Tauruses, y'all need to press play sometimes, dude. Very stuck in their comfort zone and their routine. Yeah, and it just looks like they don't grow as people or they don't evolve over time just because they do all the same things. And yeah, and I feel like Tauruses are very, very stubborn people. Tauruses are the most stubborn people I have ever met. Tauruses will definitely, if they don't want to do something, they will not do it. They will not budge. They will not do it solely for the fact that they don't want to. If they don't want to do it, then they're not going to. There's like no compromise with them. Also, I think that Taurus is quite possibly the #1 sign, the worst sign to get angry. I feel like Tauruses, once they get angry, all they see is red. Their bull just comes out of them. And they're very nonchalant, very cool people, right? But when they get angry, all hell breaks loose. Tauruses, they kind of just see red. Like there's no filter with them at that point. Once you get a Taurus angry, you are going to see their anger. You're gonna see everything that they've been holding back from saying to you. They're gonna see that. You're gonna see everything that has been bothering them. You're gonna see everything from a Taurus. They're not gonna hold back at that point. Once a Taurus is angry at you, they will definitely show you. Because all I see is red. Like, there's just no turning back from that one. And I feel like they're the worst to get into arguments with because quite possibly, each and every time, they're always right. Lastly, I think that Tauruses are the worst grudge holders. Tauruses, they will remember something from when they were 5 years old. And they will bring it back up 20 years later. And they'll say, oh, because don't you remember that time that you did this? And you'll be like, it was 25. I don't know, dude. No, yeah. So yeah, I feel like they're just definitely terrible, terrible grudge holders. Like they will not let go of a grudge. It's kind of a skill that they just all are born with. Tauruses are just very good grudge holders. They will not budge. They're very stubborn. It's kind of their way or the highway type of vibe, and I feel like that's with every earth sign. Because if a Taurus doesn't want to do something, they won't. So yeah, I feel like they're just, you guys need to grow. You guys need to get out there a little more, you know? Maybe be a little chaotic like Aries. And then Aries can learn a couple things about Taurus to be a little more secure and stable. So I think it works. Next is Gemini, and I personally think Gemini gets his bad rep for being, oh yeah, the gossip sign. Oh no, not the gossip sign, but you know, two-faced and all fake. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that's the case. But I could see to a certain extent how they can be deemed as fake. Gemini. Learn how to hold a secret. Maybe your life will be better if you learn how to keep a secret. Geminis are the worst secret keepers of the entire zodiac, quite possibly in the entire world. Geminis do not know how to keep a secret. You could be friends with a Gemini for 20 years and you know them, they know you, and you tell them a secret. You say, look, I don't want you telling anyone. This is really like you and I stuff, you know, don't tell anyone. I don't want this getting around. I don't want anybody knowing this but just me and you, okay? And they're like, yeah, dude, perfect, I got you. Next thing you know, 10 minutes later, suddenly 5 of your other friends that you didn't even know you were friends with anymore start calling you and they're like, oh, did that really happen? Oh my God. Because Geminis, they're ruled by Mercury. They don't know how to shut their mouth. Geminis, first of all, they talk a lot. I don't want to say they talk too much because that's with every air sign. But Geminis definitely talk a lot. And with that, they're terrible at keeping secrets and they're good gossipers because of that. Gemini, since they have so many friends and they're so social and cool, they have a lot of friends. And then when you're friends with Gemini, you tell them secrets, you tell them different things, you tell them stuff. And then that's how they become gossipy because, you know, they want other people to know. And they don't know when to hold back sometimes of when to not gossip and tell other people things that they're really not supposed to be telling people. You know what I mean? Since they're so well known, everybody knows Gemini, everybody's cool with Gemini, they're just terrible, terrible secret keepers. And they're really gossipy. I've noticed that they're very gossipy people. They like gossiping about their friends, about people they know, about people they hate. So I can see how they could be a little two-faced, but I wouldn't say, oh yeah, they're all two-faced, just because they're ruled by, just because they're twins. So yeah, I would say in a different sense that they're just gossipy. And you can see that it's fake to an extent. I see that Geminis are a little bit like Aries in the sense, Gemini is an air sign. I would say that Geminis can be quite indecisive at times just because they want to try different things. Air signs like a lot of different things. Air signs are not, let me put it like this, like a Taurus. You know exactly what Taurus likes. A Taurus might like this show, they like wearing these things, like shopping at this store, like doing all these things. And you kind of know how they are as people. With Geminis, they just like so many different things. Like they like art, they like music, they like accounting. They like a lot of different things. And they have a lot of different hobbies. I'm terrible with examples. But they have a lot of different hobbies, a lot of different things that they like. So with that, I feel like they can be very scattered people, since they want to try so many different things. They want to have their foot in each subject of a lot of different things. They can kind of just be scattered, and that makes them indecisive. That they want to try so many different things, but obviously there's only one of them. So they're just doing a lot of different things all at the same time, and it just makes them very scattered. Like, they can never stick to one specific thing. I've noticed that Gemini is not really a set in stone type of person, like Taurus maybe. Gemini is definitely like, oh yes, I'm gonna do this and this and this, and they'll make a whole plan, they'll talk about it for years, and then just like never follow through with it because they're probably just doing something else. So yeah, I feel like they're just very scattered. They need to get a little bit more focused, a little bit more oriented, maybe. And with that, I don't think they ever know what they want. I feel like a Gemini is just, since they want to try so many different things and they're always doing different things, they just never truly know what they want. I feel like that adds into their scattered nature, where they're just doing so many different things that they can't pick one. Gemini, do not ask Gemini to make one decision about picking one thing, because then they're just going to do something else and something else and something else. So yeah, I feel like they're very everywhere. They're just very scattered. They're here, blah, blah, blah. And they just need to calm down sometimes. So yeah, I feel like Gemini, calm down a little. Maybe make decisive, coherent decisions every now and then. But yeah, I would say chill, try one thing, and maybe not gossip so much, so people wouldn't think you're fake. The next sign that we're gonna be doing is Cancer. And Cancer, you guys are I would say that you guys, okay, let me say a good thing about Cancer. Cancer to me is a very strong sign. I feel like Cancers are very strong people, and they do not, oh my god, Cancers do not ever get the credit that they need. Cancers, they're very strong people. I feel like they're very, very, very resilient people. But people look at that as very emotional, crabby. Now let me move on to your worst traits. Cancers are a little bit like Taurus. They are the crab. They have a shell. That's their shell of comfort. That's their comfort zone, just kind of protecting the little crab that's in the inside, the crab that doesn't really come out, you know. Cancers, they kind of stay stuck in their comfort zone. They're a little dependent people, especially in relationships. They kind of miss the hit on that fine line between you know, the independence and dependence, and when it's right and a wrong time to be too clingy or too dependent. I feel like the line for them is very, very thin. They need to find a thicker line to learn how to be a little less dependent on people, because at the end they will. That's why Cancers always hurt, because they depend a lot on people, and then people always let them down. Because nobody will ever show the type of caremanship. Is that even a word? The type of care that a Cancer does to somebody else, nobody will ever reciprocate that in the same way that Cancer wants. So at the end of the day, they're always getting hurt. And it's because they're very dependent sometimes, and they think that people will be there forever, and they won't. So yeah, I would say maybe not, stop being a little too gullible, you know, because they're like the babies, so you know. And I feel like when they get hurt, they kind of just wallow in the self-pity. They're huge on that. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm sad. And that's just the kind of vibe that every Cancer gives off, that they're always kind of just sad. And you're like, Cancer, why are you sad? And they're like, I don't know, I'm just sad. And they don't really want you to know. But Cancers are just like, I'm just sad. And Cancers kind of want your sympathy. Cancers, they're manipulative. You Cancers are emotionally manipulative, since they're so emotionally intelligent people. I feel like they're pretty manipulative. They know how to emotionally manipulate people to make them feel bad for them, or for people to be there for them, kind of. So yeah, maybe be careful with that. Cancers hold grudges. Cancers hold the emotional grudges, though. I would say Taurus, let's say when they were like 3 years old, not 3 years old, okay, let's say when they were 12 years old, something happened to them, and they'll kind of, and maybe it wasn't even that bad, maybe it was like, oh, because you forgot to pick me up from school, and because of that one event, I never trusted you again. And they'll kind of hold that grudge against that person forever. But Cancer is kind of like that emotional grudge holder where, let's say like somebody broke up with them because like, look, I just need space, like it's nothing about you, and maybe that's like the true fact. Cancers will just probably hate them. Cancers will hold that grudge for them. Oh, because you wanted your space. Yeah, okay, blah blah blah. Okay, I'm never talking to you again, bye. And they kind of just hide themselves in their little shell, you know. So yeah, I feel like they can be nasty grudge holders. They need to be careful with that. Maybe learn how to forgive, maybe not forget, obviously, but, you know, forgive and kind of move on. You don't have to speak to the person or be cool with them, but, you know, forgive, Cancer. Maybe that's something that you should learn in 2020. And also, I feel like Cancers are pretty moody. They're ruled by the moon, so they're very emotional, and they get led on too much by their emotions. And they become very moody, and to the point where you kind of just don't want to be around a Cancer. Cancers, it comes to this point where you can't deal with them. Sorry, Cancer. Cancers, they need to learn how to control their emotions, because once they feel an emotion, they'll act upon it, and they'll just be led by that. So if they're feeling really happy, they'll be really, really happy, and that's really nice. But then when they're really sad, they'll be really sad. And when they're really angry, and the thing is that these mood switches just happen. It's not like, oh yeah, you know, I was sad for a while, and then I got over it, and then I, you know, was learning how to be myself again. Cancers are just like, each second they're like a different mood, and you're like, what the hell? I don't know how to deal with you right now. Like, they'll be happy, and then 10 minutes later they're crying, and you're like, Cancer, what is going on? And like, oh, because you did this to me. You're like, we were watching a movie, Cancer. So yeah, Cancer has a lot of, they're pretty moody, mood switches, mood changes, many of them. Next sign is Leo. I've noticed that Leo has 0 bad traits. My sign, 0 bad traits. Y'all, Leo's perfect. No, just kidding. Okay, so for Leo, I can go crazy on the sign because I'm a Leo, so if this offends you, I'm basically roasting myself, so it makes no sense. Leos are the biggest attention seekers of the entire zodiac. I said it. But I don't think that people elaborate too much on that. People are like, oh yeah, Leos just want all the spotlight. Leos just want everybody to look at them. Oh, because Leos are perfect. No. Leos are the lion. They're the lioness and the lions of the zodiac. Outside, they're prideful and strong and beautiful, and everybody just kind of wants to be a Leo. But in the inside, they're the biggest wimps. Us Leos, the biggest. We're kind of like Cancers in the inside. We're just like this little cub. So on the outside, to cover up all our emotions and our vulnerabilities and our insecurities, we kind of just show ourselves off 10 times stronger by being this prideful lion with so much self-confidence, but in the inside, 0. None of that. I don't think that's the case completely, but I'm obviously exaggerating, but I do think that Leos, so yeah, I think in the inside, Leos are just like this little baby cub that just want to be hugged all day. But on the outside, they kind of show themselves off as very cocky and very vain and very confident and smooth and Mr. like Rico Suave, you know? I feel like because they're internally such little babies, they kind of need validation for everything. Leos are definitely, they just want to do things right. Leos have good hearts, so they just want to do things right, and they want to be validated for the things that they're doing. And they need a lot of validation and that reassurance that, yes, everything you're doing is okay. But Leos need to realize that they're not always going to get that, and they need to learn how to internally become strong people and then externally, but they kind of do it reverse. So Leos on the outside externally will look very, very strong people, but in the inside, they're not. They just cover that up with all their external strength. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like Leos need to build themselves up over their lifetime, how to be truly strong people. And I think they are truly strong people, but I feel like they need to do a lot more, and that push to get over insecurities, to stop needing validation and reassurance. They just kind of need to leave those things behind. And I've noticed with Leo men, I've noticed that with Leo men, y'all, what is up with these Leo men? I don't know what's up with these Leo men, but Leo men have to be the cockiest breed of Leos. Because you have your Leo woman. Leo woman shows herself off as resilient, prideful, strong, but they can be looked at as vain. And I feel like Leo women are vain with their looks, but Leo men alter that into this different breed. It's crazy. I don't know how Leo men can just come off so cocky. Leo men think that they're just know-it-alls, that they're doing everything right, and they're the coolest and they're the smartest people, and then when somebody else does better than them, they're kind of threatened, because on the inside they're definitely probably not all those things, and they're just being super cocky to hide their little cub in the inside, like we spoke about earlier. So yeah, I feel like us Leos hold this huge complex that we're kind of like the best, and in the inside we're just using that complex to cover up all insecurities and all vulnerabilities, and we don't want to show that because we want to come off as like these prideful lions, but we want to come off like we know what we're doing and everything that we're doing is perfect, but in reality it's not. And Leos in the inside are kind of just as chaotic as Aries. So yeah, I feel like Leos, y'all need to learn how to maybe not seek that validation, how to gain personal power over time. And I feel like once you have that internally, externally, you can be as batty as you want, but don't just act like you know exactly what you're doing and everything's cool when everything's not. So for Virgo, I've noticed petty. Virgos are the pettiest sign. I love how in the beginning of this video I was like, if you don't resonate, but I feel like every Virgo might just resonate with this. Every Virgo is so petty. It's weird because some observations may not resonate with everybody, but I feel like I've read this from a lot of people. It's not just my own personal observation, it's from things that have happened to my friends, my family members, and petty stuff have just happened with many Virgos. It's weird. It's really weird. Because Virgos are, I feel like Virgos hold themselves up very highly, and they're kind of like these very classy people. I've noticed that Virgo's aesthetic, I just want to mention, is always like this black and white and like clean cut, classy type of vibe, and that Virgos hold themselves like as these very well put people. People say that Virgo is like the sign that's super cleanly and super neat and super oriented with work, and I feel like they really show that off, and I think that's beautiful. But I feel like Virgos, just since they have that aura to them that like, oh yes, like I'm super classy and I'm like the queen, sort of, they have that vibe. I would say for Virgo men though, it's a little more like they're like nonchalant and cool, but with Virgo women, they kind of had that like that queen and like clean and sassy vibe to them. And once you wrong a Virgo, they'll never forget it. I wouldn't say they're huge grudge holders. I feel like you could really get through to a Virgo if you just communicate with them effectively, but they will be petty. They're gonna be angry and they'll probably be like, oh yes, just communicate and we can talk about it, but they'll still be petty. They'll still post things on social media. They'll still talk to their friends and kind of alter stories. Like, they're just definitely like a very petty sign, and I've noticed that with so many Virgos. I don't know what it is. I can't really significantly name a reason for it, like an astrological reason for it. But yeah, I would say they're very petty, and I feel like Virgos are the sign of wanting to be perfectionists. They're a very perfectionist sign. They want themselves to be perfect. They can't accept their own flaws. No Virgo will ever, nor has, accepted their own flaws. They want to be perfect, and I feel like you need to kind of cut that down because nobody can be perfect. Little side note. But since they don't accept their own flaws, they don't accept other people's flaws. So once they see other people's flaws, they can't accept it, and they either change the person or they kind of they're kind of scared because they feel like, oh, if somebody's not perfect, then I can't have that, because if somebody's not perfect, then they're gonna hurt me. I feel like they're very protective over themselves, very, very, very protective over themselves. So they need someone who's perfect because they just want somebody who's very ideal and who's very perfect. But I feel like Virgos deep down want somebody who's perfect just so somebody won't hurt them, because perfect people are perfect and they won't hurt anybody. Do you see what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like they're very judgy, and the reason that a Virgo is judgy with you is because they're twice as judgy with themselves. Virgos cannot accept their own flaws. They judge themselves. They want to be perfect. They're constantly overthinking what they're saying, what they're doing, overthinking every scenario that they've done over and over in their head because they want everything to just be perfect. And I feel like Virgos just need to let loose and calm that down. Maybe, Virgo, you don't need to be perfect. Accept your flaws, and with accepting your flaws, you can accept other people's flaws. And stop being so petty. Stop being so petty. Virgo, oh my God. Things happen. People aren't perfect. People screw up, but don't be petty. Take the higher route. Be the classy Virgo that you are. Take the higher route and don't stoop down to their level and be petty. I just don't get it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Virgo, just take that word of advice. So the next sign is Libra, and like I said earlier in the video, I wanted to kind of show the differences between the chaos between Aries and Libra, since they are sister signs. Libras, I noticed, they're a very indecisive sign. They're all about balance because of the scales, but I feel like people kind of put Libra on a pedestal because they're probably the most indecisive sign. The only reason you don't know it is because Libra internalizes it. The way Aries externalizes all their chaos, Libras just hold that all in, and mentally they're on a rampage. Mentally they're super, super chaotic, and they honestly don't know what they're doing. But Libras, like Leos, they want to be validated. But the thing about Libras is that they want to be loved by everybody. They're the sign of Venus. They love love. Libras love love. But I feel like, Libras have this happy-go-lucky attitude, and they want to get along with everybody, and they want to be cool with everybody. But because they want to be loved, I feel like Libras are constantly looking for somebody to validate them and fill them in, feel like their other half. But Libras need to recognize that nobody will ever be their other half, and they need to be strong, and they need to kind of fill themselves in. Libras, I feel like, hold this gap with them that they are constantly just looking for other people to fill in. Since they're such a social sign, they want other people to want them. So they just want to be loved and cared for. But I feel like Libra, learn how to be by yourself. I think you can learn a lot from that. Don't look for external validation all the time. Don't go out looking for people to love you, because you will get disappointed when things just don't work out. I feel like Libras are so flirty. Libras will have a significant other and just be flirty. Like, what is wrong with y'all? I feel like Libra, they're very flirty since they're ruled by Venus. They're all about, playful and fun. They're an air sign, and Libras are beautiful. So they just go crazy with flirting because they know that they can flirt with anybody, and anybody want to flirt with them. And they just want to be loved. So they just flirt with anybody and kind of get like a little hint of flirt every now and then. Not every now and then, every day. Libras definitely do flirt with everyone. They're very flirtatious people, and sometimes you can't, Libra, if you have a significant other, or if there's somebody with a significant other, don't flirt with them. Don't do it, girl. Or guy, I don't know. Just don't, calm down your flirtatiousness, Have a little bit of boundaries in that aspect. So yeah, Libra, don't look for that external validation. Don't look for other people to love you the way that you want to be loved. Love yourself. And yeah, and make a couple decisions. Make a couple rational decisions and calm down from time to time. I feel like Libras as well, like Virgo, just like Virgo, which people don't recognize since, I don't know, people just don't talk about it. Libras are so chaotic in the inside and they want to be perfectionists very badly. Libras are just constantly looking for perfect. They're constantly looking for the balance. And they just won't get that perfect balance. And they need to accept that. Because I feel like since they want to be loved, they feel like if they want to be loved correctly and by everybody, they need to be perfect. And that's just not the case. So yeah, Libra, I would just say, just like Virgo, stop being perfectionists. So yeah. Next sign is Scorpio. I've noticed with Scorpios, Scorpios can come off a little mean and harsh sometimes. I feel like they, even if they're very nice, because I wouldn't say every Scorpio is very mean or harsh. That's definitely not the case. But I feel like Scorpios just have that energy and that vibe where you kind of just feel like they don't like you for some weird reason. I don't know. Scorpios just kind of, they kind of have that like intimidating vibe sometimes. I know they can't help it, but God, you know, smile from time to time, y'all. I feel like Libras, Scorpios can definitely be very intimidating from time to time. And Scorpios have huge trust issues. Scorpios are a water sign, and I feel like people don't understand how emotional and vulnerable they truly, truly, truly are. I would even say if you are a Scorpio moon, I would say this definitely applies to you. So Scorpios have a lot of trust issues. They're sheltered. They're ruled by Pluto and Mars. And they're very sheltered, very closed off people. And they have a lot of trust issues. And once you do something wrong or you wrong them in any way, they definitely won't forget that. And they'll definitely just shut you out from their life completely. It's not a grudge thing anymore. No, if you wrong them once, you're out. There's no coming back from that. You can't, there's no apology. There's no grudge between you and them. They're like, okay, you want to mess around with me? We're cool. We're out. Yeah, you're not in my life anymore. I don't want you. They are so, like, they're like these kind of like sad souls, a little bit. They have a lot of emotional turmoil on the inside that they don't talk about or they don't release. And Scorpios try so hard, like, I just want to be understood by somebody. I just want somebody to really get me, you know? And Scorpios push everyone out and they will never be understood. So Scorpio, you want people to understand you so badly, but that, you know, that's not what you want. That's exactly what you don't want. Scorpios, they kind of give them this vibe off. They're like, oh, I wish somebody can kind of just understand me and really understand my emotions. But I don't have emotions. And once somebody really cares for them and comes in to show them the light a little bit, they kind of just push those people away because of their trust issues. So I would say, Scorpio, learn how to trust a little more. Learn how to accept people in. Maybe you don't have to show them all of you or give all of yourself away, but definitely, you know, little by little, learn how to, you know, release those trust issues. Not everybody's out to get you. I feel like they're just the same way that they're protective over the people that they love. Okay, because once a Scorpio finally lets you in, that's it. You're in forever. They're kind of become very possessive to that extent. Because once a Scorpio loves you and acknowledges that, wow, this is my ride or die, they're definitely ride or dies, which is so awesome. But I feel like they could be very possessive, like they're fine line. They need to learn how to tone down the possessiveness, because once they finally let people in, they're like, oh no, now they can't leave me. Like, they get very scared. I feel like they're like Cancer, like they kind of like depend on those people, but they just don't show that. So yeah, I feel like maybe you guys need to stop being a little possessive with the people you love, and with new people, let them in, you know? Let people in, Scorpio. And Scorpio, you don't need to be so manipulative all the time. Scorpios, their sister sign is Taurus, so their way or the highway. Scorpios are a fixed sign as well, just like Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo. So it's kind of just their way or the highway. Scorpios are definitely the sign that, oh, if they don't get what they want, they'll find a way to get what they want. And it's kind of scary because they will do anything in their power, and you don't even know that they're manipulating you or kind of like using reverse psychology on you. But somehow Scorpios just get whatever they want. And yeah, Scorpio. You don't need to be so manipulative all the time. Maybe you should just be honest about things, because you're a very honest sign. You know exactly when to be mean and harsh to people, but you don't know when to just not be manipulative. Yeah, I wouldn't say every Scorpio is like that whatsoever. And I love the fact that Scorpios are definitely ride or die people. I feel like Scorpio placements are just so magnetic and strong that all these traits digress into Scorpio moons, Scorpio Venuses, and Scorpio Mars, and Scorpio suns. So if you have any of those, I would say that definitely resonates. That should a little bit of a recap on what your sign is like. So yeah. So the next sign that we're going on to is Sagittarius. Sagittarius has such a lucky, happy-go-lucky vibe, and you never truly know what they're feeling. Sagittarius is, you guys just, it's not that, oh yeah, I'm so heartless and emotionless. It's just like, sometimes you want to have a deep conversation and a real one with the Sagittarius, but they kind of just, I don't know, not that they're emotionless in any sense, but I feel like they just don't show their emotions. And just because they portray themselves as happy-go-lucky, they don't want to seem like anything's wrong with them, even when something is wrong. They just really hold that all back for some reason, because they feel like they need to be really happy all the time, especially when that's not the case. And I wouldn't say being happy is a terrible trait or the worst trait, but I feel like sometimes they should try to understand their emotions, because like the fire sign that they are, they're kind of all over the place as well sometimes. And yeah, like Sagittarius, you guys are very smart and knowledgeable people, but with your emotions, it's just kind of like, there's no sense of, like, what is that? Like, truly understanding the depth of my emotions, non-existent to Sag. Sagittarius, stop being brutally honest with people. Sometimes it's nice to hold yourself back and have a little bit of a filter. You guys are super chill people, super cool. Honesty is the best policy always, but sometimes you guys take it to an extent where you make fun of people, or you think it's funny. You think it's funny making fun of people, or just being brutally honest for absolutely no reason when nobody asked for your opinion. Yeah, stop doing that. Sagittarius, you guys are very honest, you guys are great, but I feel like maybe tone it down on being a little too honest for the wrong reasons, like to get a good laugh, you know? And I feel like Sagittarius's, which is not talked about enough, is their huge God complex. Sagittariuses are very knowledgeable, and they know a lot of different things about a lot of different subjects. So like their sister sign, Gemini, but they kind of take that into the extent, and they use that to their advantage in a sense where they have a God complex. So they're like, oh yeah, I know about like astrology and death, and I like talking about deep stuff, and I know all like the taboo topics, and I explore, and I'm really smart, and I'm really good at school, so I'm good at all these things. And they kind of have this God complex where they know more than you, where they act like they know more than you. And even if that's true, they just kind of hold themselves to this little pedestal. That's something I've noticed. So yeah, Sag, I think you guys should kind of tone down your God complex. I don't have too much to say about Sag. I just feel like it's mainly that they, oh yeah, since I know so much. Sag can be a little fake. I feel like people don't talk about that. A Sagittarius will treat you one way, and then in front of other people it's just a completely different other way. I feel like they're more two-faced in a sense than their sister sign Gemini. I feel like they carry that trait more than Gemini actually. So yeah, Sagittarius, just keep it real with people, but not too real to the point where it hurts their feelings, or there's no reason to keep it too real. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Capricorn. You guys, Capricorns have emotions. They just hide them. So I read this thing once. I was like, oh yeah, Cancer is the emotional, their sister sign. Cancer, their sister sign, is the emotional diarrhea, and then Capricorn is the emotional constipation, which I think is very, very accurate. Cancers are seen as too emotional and seen as too sad and sappy, and then Capricorn is the complete opposite. They hide and they suppress all their emotions and they hide it in this little trunket. Like, they're like, oh, emotions, sad, okay, we're locking that down, we're pushing that down, we're not gonna talk about that, we're not gonna bring that up. Yeah, I feel like they just don't understand their emotions. They're too focused on their goals, which I think is okay. They're focused on their goals and they're very ambitious, but I feel like to an extent they suppress all their emotions, that they just don't talk about it. So yeah, and they kind of get weirded out when people are too emotional around them, or people show their emotions like, whoa, what's that? Because they just suppress all of that. I feel like Capricorn secludes themselves to an extreme at times. I feel like Capricorn can definitely get out there more and definitely, you know, hang out with the friends and talk to people and really be out there, but they seclude themselves a lot, sometimes for no reason. Capricorns, they can shut people out like Scorpio, and they become very secluded and they kind of just only hang out with themselves. Like, they're their own best friends, because I feel like they have this mentality where they are all they need. They are the only person that they will ever need, but I just feel like that's not the case. And Capricorn needs to learn how to kind of be vulnerable and open when needing the assistance or needing other people or just wanting to let people in. They're a little uptight with that, like, oh yeah, I don't need anyone, and they can kind of just do everything by themselves. And that's just not the case with anybody, with any sign. You know, you always need other people. You always need support. You always need your family, your friends. And Capricorn just thinks that they could do everything by themselves. Like, they're that 6-year-old that's like, I'm a big girl now, I could do whatever I want by myself. They kind of have that attitude even as adults. I feel like they want to be the stable, the strong one, the resilient, the ambitious person, and I just feel like internally they can't handle it. They're the opposite of Leo. Externally they're very much so. Oh no, internally, oh wait, are they all the opposite of Leo? No, I feel like externally they make themselves believe that they're very strong and resilient, but I feel like internally they don't know how to understand or cope with things effectively or positively. I feel like it's very hard for them, because since they suppress and don't understand their own emotions, like they can't understand other people's emotions or other people's situations sometimes. So I feel like it just leaves them in this limbo of not understanding and then becoming very confused in the inside. And I just feel like they try to be very strong and try to be the rock for everybody and themselves, but sometimes that's just not the case. And sometimes they need to be a little open and vulnerable, and I feel like that's something very valuable to learn for Capricorns. So yeah, I feel like Cap, maybe let people in, maybe hang out. You know, Capricorn, if you're by yourself right now, if you're watching this, text your friend right now and tell them you want to hang out. Let your friends in, let other people in. You don't have to always be the strong one. You can be sad, you can be vulnerable. It's okay. You don't always need to be by yourself, and you don't need, and support from other people's good. You can have other people in your life and that won't drive you away from your goals. Have other people in your life and have a little fun sometimes. Y'all need to let loose. Y'all too secluded. You guys are too by yourselves. Just let loose. The next sign is Aquarius. I love when people say that, yeah, Leos, they're cocky, they're vain, but Aquariuses they have huge God complexes. I feel like they're a little bit like Sagittarius, which since they know so much about a lot, they kind of hold themselves on this pedestal that they know more than you and they're more knowledgeable than you, and that's literally not the case. Sagittarius is very good with having a sense of equality and a sense of justice and a sense of balance. They're a little chaotic. They're a little crazy. Aquarius are a little crazy. But I feel like they have this good sense of equality among other people, and they're not biased, and that's an amazing trait. But with them and themselves, the way they view themselves, they're weirdly, I wouldn't say insecure. I would say to an extent, they're weirdly very insecure and have this huge God complex. They're just like Leo in that sense. Yeah, I feel like they're tryhards as well. I feel like they try to impress people a lot of the time. I feel like they just want to be made and seem as like this cool, like edgy kind of person where, oh yeah, I know a lot about a law and I'm super cool and I'm edgy and I dress cool and I talk about cool stuff. And they're just try hard sometimes. It's okay to not try so hard. It's okay if people don't think you're cool. You don't gotta be cool, Aquarius. They try really hard to be different and unique, and they hold themselves up. That's where that's how they hold themselves up very highly, because they're like, oh, because I'm super unique and I'm super cool and different. But I feel like Aquariuses are just like everybody else. I feel like Aquariuses are very hard on themselves on the inside. They're very, very, very hard on themselves. It's weird because they have that God complex. They have that complex like, oh yeah, I'm amazing, but they're so hard and they're so hard on themselves and they're so insecure in the inside, and it's just like this imbalance. They just have a lot of chaos as well, I feel. Something else, they're like Capricorn, where in the sense they push people out, but I feel like with Aquarius, there's no fine line between being detached towards people. Like, they want people in their life and they love people. Sometimes they don't know how to show their emotions correctly and show their love where people understand it, because they're not good with that stuff. And I would say that as well for Aquarius Moon and Venus. And there's this fine line between detachment, where they're just very detached and they unconsciously push people out. They push people out. Aquariuses, you guys, you're very friendly. So I wouldn't say, oh yeah, go out there more, because you are definitely out there. You are definitely, you know, pushing yourself, and you're definitely very cool and friends with everybody. But you need to learn when to not be too detached, or learn how to effectively say, hey, I need my space, because these people need their space. But it definitely goes into a point of isolation where it's just them and their thoughts. And I feel like Aquariuses can drive themselves crazy at times with that. With needing to be perfect, with their thoughts, wanting people to think they're really cool and like them. And yeah, they kind of have their own little secret world, I would say. They have this own world of theirs on the inside that nobody has a key to. One last thing, I feel like Aquarius, find your filter. Find your filter, Aquarius. You and Sagittarius and Scorpio need to find your filter sometimes and stop being insensitive towards many subjects. Just because you don't understand something, Aquarius, or you've never been through that thing, doesn't mean you can be insensitive. You see, like, maybe Cancers are too sensitive, but Cancers have this good sense of empathy and sympathy towards people, and Aquariuses just sometimes lack that very much. You need to find that fine line. You need to find that empathy within you, that sympathy within you for other people, because just because you've never been through it doesn't mean you can bash other people for it, or just kind of be too blunt and too honest about some things. So yeah, I would say find your filter sometimes, because it's okay sometimes to be blunt, honest, and not have your filter, and sometimes it's not, and you guys just need to find your middle ground with that. And last but not least, actually, so yes, Aquarius, I would say find your middle ground, let people in, stop being so isolated sometimes, and stop trying so hard to be super cool. You're unique just the way you are. Now, we're going to go on to Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. They're the babies of the Zodiac. I feel like they're very wise people, but internally, they're huge babies. To me, Pisces are kind of like the followers of the Zodiac. They kind of, they're the followers. They kind of don't have a good sense of leadership. They're very wise, and I would totally go to a Pisces if I want somebody to understand me and to truly give me wise and helpful and useful advice. But I feel like since Pisces are so emotionally in tune with themselves and emotional people, they victimize themselves. Pisces, they kind of have this attitude where, well, why does everything happen to me? Like, why is this happening to me? Instead of saying, well, what does this have to teach me? They kind of had this attitude where, why me? Why me attitude? They're kind of babies in that sense, where, and then they, oh my God, they just kind of wallow in their self-pity. Pisces are definitely a sign that kind of they say, oh, why me? Like, why is this happening to me? And they kind of just wallow in that pity, and that I don't deserve this type of mood. And with that, I feel like they become just very passive-aggressive people. Pisces don't know how to effectively show their anger because they want to be so nice, and they're very sweet people. And they don't know how to show their anger. So instead of being angry and lashing out, they bottle it all up. And I would say this is huge for Pisces, Moon, and Mars. They bottle it all up and they hold it. This is all their anger. And then one day they just explode. Or they just become very, very passive-aggressive with the people that they love, even though they don't mean to. They'll just hold everything in until they explode one day. And Pisces need to learn how to just, it's okay to be angry, Pisces. It's okay to not like something. It's okay to set boundaries between people. I feel like Pisces are a very needy sign. They're very emotional, and they need a lot of reassurance a lot of the time. They need that validation constantly from people, and then when they don't get it, they wallow. They just wallow in that, oh, well, I'm not getting what I want, or why is this happening to me kind of mindset. And Pisces just need to learn how to toughen up a little and roll with the punches and use that wisdom and that sweetness that they have to persevere through things that happen to them, and not just always wonder why this is happening and victimize yourself. And I feel like even when they're being emotionally manipulative, because just like Cancer, they're very good at that. All the water signs are. People like to say that Tauruses are manipulative. People like to say that Aquarius are manipulative, that Sagittarius is manipulative, but I think that mostly all the water signs are highly, highly emotionally manipulative, since they have a good sense of emotional intelligence, so they know how to use that against other people. So yeah, Pisces, there's a good and bad time, and good ways and bad ways to use your emotional intelligence against and for people. So yeah, Pisces, toughen up a little, grow a backbone. I'm a Pisces Mars, so I completely understand. But yeah, I would say use your wisdom and use your knowledge and use that strength that I know you have, Pisces, to persevere. And you got this, girl, or guy, or whoever. So yeah, so that is the video that I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The timestamps, like I said, will be below. Don't take any of this to offense. It wasn't to offend anybody. Yeah, and I just hope you enjoyed. So let me know if you guys want to see any other type of zodiac videos. I would love to make those for you. And yeah, thank you for watching.